want you to hate yourself from the top of your
Go down to the description box right now to hear more Malcolm, Les Martin, my man Riz featuring Conway the Machine in its entirety in the description box right now, exclusively on iTunes. Don't wait, hit the button right now. Let's go.
Welcome to another episode of the Uncensored Truth Podcast. I'm your brother Oga from Hip Hop News Uncensored, and sitting across from me is my co-host.
What it do? What's good? It's your brother Sam and Viral Hip Hop News. You're in the building. We are the Uncensored Truth Podcast, man. Another episode. It's a Monday. Oh God, what's good, my brother?
Chilling, man, chilling. Feeling very good today, man. Can't wait till the spring, comes through. It's a little chilly out today, but we here, man. Couldn't wait to get back on the set, man, to do what we do best, to come back and just talk about some stuff, has happened, but first and foremost, man, how was your weekend, though, man?
It was dope, man. It was real low-key, as they've been the last couple of weeks, man. We got to get into something. We've been talking about just going out here and really just enjoying life a little bit, but we're waiting for the weather to break a little bit, man. It's so damn cold, but yeah, I chilled, laid low, man. Real slow weekend as far as hip-hop was concerned, man. Couldn't wait to get back here, but I chilled, man. How was your weekend?
Oh, man, it was great, man. More kind of just the same once again, but had fun when I could, try to just balance everything out. And I'm just anxious to get back here, man, and get back to what we do. This is always the highlight, of what we do. So we got quite a few things to talk about today, one being LeBron James. So also going to talk about bloggers in hip-hop or whatever genre, kind of giving other bloggers a bad name. Also, everybody's been talking about the Kodak Black Young Ma situation. If you're not aware of that, there's been some homophobic references made. So we're going to dig into that just a little bit. Also, we want to talk a little bit about Jay Morrison and the situation he has, as well as a few other things. Might dabble a little bit into sports and whatnot today, but we're definitely here. We want to say peace to everybody who's going to hear this on iTunes, Spotify, or Google Play in the morning. We appreciate you listening. And if you can, we ask that you just share this with one other person, tell them to give our podcast a listen. That's all we ask, to do. But yeah, man.
And they've been doing a great job, oh God. They've been doing a phenomenal job over there on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, because every time I look at the numbers and I come back and tell you about the numbers, they just go up and up and up and up and up.
Right.
So, man, we salute each and every one of y'all. Y'all keep doing what you're doing. And make sure you check us out Friday on exclusively the Uncensored Truth Podcast official YouTube channel. Had a great show last Friday, man. I want to tell you it was a great job, man. I had a great time interacting with the people, getting some question and answer sessions in, and the people on iTunes, Spotify really digging that and really responding to that. So we got to keep that going and talking to the people on Friday nights right there on that channel, man. So salute. Let's get to it, man.
And you said Houston's the number one spot now that's rocking out, right?
I believe so, but let me check right here because I got it up. And the last time I looked, it was Houston. Let me see the overall locations. I got you.
No doubt.
Okay, now it's a tie between Houston, Texas, and Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
What?
Philly got them out by a little bit, man. So shout out to Philly, shout out to Houston, man. But yep, we out there.
Damn, that's crazy. I never would have thought that. That's what's up, though.
Followed by the Bronx, followed by Tennessee, Charlotte, North Carolina, Sacramento, California, New York, Brooklyn.
The Uncensored Truth Podcast, man. And I'm telling you, man, we're going to be just digging into a lot more, topics on this particular podcast, but we're also starting a Wake and Bake podcast where we're actually going to be waking and definitely baking.
Oh man,
on there. We're just dealing with a lot of different things, a lot of reaction videos, but just to kind of segue into this topic, I think it's a great time to do this. Let's talk about bloggers.
Yeah.
That kind of giving other I don't really like that name. I hate it. People say it, but more like journalists, people who actually have businesses, companies that want to put responsible information out. Oftentimes kind of get thrown into the same category as guys who just are doing it just because they can, and for whatever reason, they have to do it, but they don't have any integrity behind when they publish something, and they think that they can say anything, ruin people's lives without any repercussion, or threaten people or invite them to their privates and whatnot. I don't like it. I don't like it when these people are grouped in with people like us who do our best to try to do is be responsible as we can. We put the information out and respectful as we can to all parties involved, because we weren't there. We're just reporting the information, that's readily available. But we kind of get overshadowed with, and I got to be frank, the fuck shit. Fuck people who are just saying all types of outlandish stuff on the internet And I feel like this, and maybe you don't, that it's giving us a bad name. So I just wanted to say that's not us. We don't, hopefully you can see the difference in the platforms once you watch them, but that doesn't represent, the whole of how we feel in the hip hop, community, even on YouTube. That's not how we roll.
I know we share a lot of the same views and a lot of the same viewpoints on a lot of things, but not often talked about. I know that when we first started this podcast about a year ago now, we walked into it knowing, or we walked into even YouTube when you did Hip Hop News Uncensored, and I walked into Viral,
right,
that we were going to get boxed into a pool of some certain personalities that we didn't want to have anything to do with. But because we were on YouTube doing what we were doing, we were going to put in this certain genre. We talked about it on the podcast, and I really felt like through our work, we kind of tried to separate ourselves from that. Now we created businesses and solidified things, and we moved in very different directions, and hopefully people begin to really see that and respond to that and understand that. But we knew that it was always kind of this, it was going to be some fuck shit going on. Today, it's like no other. And I think the virus is so crazy because people, they resonate to the fuck shit so crazy,
man. Yeah,
they run to it. They're asking for more. They're feeding for more, throwing more smoke on the fire. And you can't blame certain people that really have no talent, no real ability to do this shit and dive into situations of their own and articulate their viewpoints and not worry about people rebuttaling their viewpoint, because that's a real way to build your fan base, build your people, your loyal people, to really grow something and really make some change. But sit there and just tickle and fondle the motherfuckers that abet you. You really have to understand how to separate yourself from that. And there's certain people that really just thrive for it, and they get it from the people that run to it.
Right.
I mean, the more fuck shit they do, the more response they get, and the bigger it goes. So,
but it's going to turn it to negative ultimately, I think. And I don't wish any harm on anybody, but it's not hard, when people are spreading false information, threatening people, and stuff like that. It's a situation that could turn ugly. And I think a lot of times with social media, when people are kind of behind the screen, or they might live in a different city or state, they think, look, it's going to be no repercussions. I could just do this. Ha ha ha. I'm going to say anything for views. No. Somebody's going to take it serious one day and say, you know what? I'm going to confront this person, whether it be legally, physically, whatever means they want to go, and actually take action against you for doing what you did. So I think that people need to be a little more. You had cats, backpedaling like bitches and apologizing and shit, but they cowards. That's what we expect. But go ahead.
Well, I mean, we expect to walk around. I want to go through the United States and be able to promote my motherfucking brand. So if I want to be able to walk in certain cities and talk in certain cities, I got to remember that if I say it, I got to be able to stand by that shit. In certain ways, I'm going to have certain respects for it. And I'm going to have respect for anybody and everybody we talk about on this podcast. Now, whether I agree or disagree with your logic or and ways you approach things, that's totally different. But I'll have no problem looking you in the face, man to man or man to woman, and being able to go ahead and sit behind my actions behind this microphone, knowing that I was, one, respectful, and two, honest in my viewpoint. Right. And if I'm not going to do it, I'm not going to fucking say it. I don't sit there and portray to be a tough guy. I don't run around and say what I know, what I do, any of that shit. Right. Sit here and stay right in my lane.
But Sam, man, this is cutting real quick. I just want to say, because a lot of people are going to say, how come y'all not saying names? Here's what I'll say. Because first of all, we understand that once we put somebody's name out there, we're actually now going to help them. We're going to help people to go over there and check them out. I'm not giving anybody no fucking free promotion. You can pay for that if you want to. We reach over 500,000 people, combined, I'm saying? It's probably even more than that, on a regular basis. So it's just like, come on, man, we when the time is right, we will, but people can, read between the lines on exactly who the people, and it's a few of them, it's not just one, it's a few people that, are just giving people a bad name. But I know, and I'm confident that the people should be able to see through and see who are the reals and separate the real from the fake.
Yeah. I mean, ask for the EIN numbers, real, fake.
They ain't got no come on, man.
I'm just saying. Yeah. And we ain't trying to trying to pick on anybody. It's a whole pool of, like you said, fiction and fucking nonfiction. And you got to be able to separate from the two. Or if you want to sit there and you want to watch pro wrestling for a little bit, go ahead and watch your pro wrestling and enjoy the fake shit. Ain't nothing wrong with that. We used to like watching wrestling too. Right. But when you want to go ahead and watch the real shit, just know the difference.
Definitely.
Indeed.
I definitely agree. But yeah, man, tune into the Uncensored Truth podcast with your brother, Old God and Sam, man. Going in today on this Monday, kicking off in the week, right? If you're listening, no matter where you're listening, please go ahead and share this video. Of course, if you're listening on YouTube, hit the like button and you know what to do after that. Now, Sam, Matt, you wanted to talk about LeBron James.
Yeah, man. Well, LeBron James this weekend, he had a real heartbreaking loss to the New York Knicks. I believe that was on ABC. Got his shot blocked within the last second. They lost 123 to 124. LeBron James, I had 33 points, 8 assists, 6 rebounds. Great game. Taking flack for it. Taking major flack for it, especially by Walt Frazier, one of, if I'm not mistaken, Walt Clyde Frazier. Yeah, he's a Hall of Famer and a New York Knicks commentator. Said this about LeBron James. And this was in regards to LeBron James sitting at the end of the bench while his team sat on the other side during a timeout, a first quarter, things like that. Something typically LeBron does, but here it is. This type of behavior, when you're the face of the NBA, you should be more a part of your team, folks, Frazier said on MSG broadcast. No matter what is going on in the public, you got to be a part of the team. Maybe in the locker room you're not, but you have to excuse that type of togetherness in public, folks, excuse me. And right now, he really does not care. Now, he is saying this, a Hall of Famer, is saying this to arguably the greatest player in this generation, in LeBron James. And you've seen a lot of criticism about LeBron James as of late, and a lot about being a basketball player, but a lot off the court as well. What do you think about this right now? I know you really, I don't know if you saw the game or not. I know you're not really following the NBA too closely, but we've been talking about LeBron in depth. What do you think when you hear comments like that in regards to LeBron James and his greatness and leadership?
I kind of don't agree. I don't agree, you know what I'm saying? But as far as like LeBron, we did a segment the other day and we were kind of talking about, Stephen A. Smith was talking about how the owners, you know, the NBA ownership is kind of getting mad at his attitude for kind of, you know, wanting to express himself and do things out of basketball. They, like you said, they want him to kind of just shut up, play ball. You're not a political voice. You're nothing for some reason, you know. And I just think that, you know, let LeBron do him. He's a great player. He might not be the greatest ever, but he has aspirations outside of basketball, you know, as well. And I want him to be outspoken and do what he does. But he always has been under like criticism. And I heard this over the years that maybe he didn't have, that's why they didn't, you know, consider him the greatest, because of his heart. They say that he maybe, you know, wasn't always in it or didn't have the will to win like a Michael Jordan, you know, or another, you know, great player that would be considered one of the best. So I think he's just different, man. I mean, that's when we start doing the comparing thing, sometimes it's like kind of skewed because he's great in this time. We don't know how he would have played back then, but right now we know that he's one of the greatest. His record, you know, says that. But I don't know, man. I just don't, you know, I think he kind of should have just kept it, you know, to himself instead of putting it out in the public. Well, how you feel about that, though, Sam, man?
When LeBron first came into the league, I think we were still in high school. I think he was born in '84, so he's right around. He's our age.
Yeah.
And when we first came into the league, he threw in the number 23. We were fresh off of Jordan. We weren't feeling that shit. You're not allowed to do that shit. You got to pay homage. You are not the next Jordan. Who are you? And that kind of automatically kind of threw a real disdain toward diehard Michael Jordan fans, LeBron James coming out early out the gate.
Right.
But as you go along and you become a man and you see what he's done, although be it he's had dream teams and super teams, which we also disagreed with, he's went to 8 straight NBA finals. He's won 5, if I'm not mistaken. He's played and won Olympic gold medals. The miles that this man has on him is unparalleled to anybody. And we like to hear the phrase, or we often hear the phrase, shut up and play basketball. And as much as we love Michael Jordan and was put Michael Jordan #1 above all, Michael Jordan, to a certain degree, just shut up and played basketball. He sold his shoe. He made his money, but he shut up and he played ball. They don't need this generation not to shut up and play ball. Even Kobe, to a certain degree, just shut up and played ball. Now, he was great at it. He was the Mamba, but he just shut up and played ball. LeBron James is like something they've never seen before. I'm not going to put him in the regards of the Ali or the Jim Brown, but he reminds me more so of him like a Jim Brown in the NBA compared to the NFL back in the 60s, because he's not just going to shut up and play ball. He's going to talk about things that bother him. If he wants to go out and act and do things in LA and talk about it, he's going to do that.
That's right.
And if he's going to, a lot of people say shut up and play ball, but imagine if he did, how much money you would lose. And dare I say, should LeBron at this time, I'm going to ask you, retire? Should he just retire? What else does that LeBron have to prove? He's not catching fucking Jordan. Like you said, those comparisons need to go.
I think that, you know, that's a good question. I think that he feels in his heart, I think he can answer that. He's done giving all that he can to basketball, and he wants to do something else. Maybe he lost the passion. That happens. You want to jump in. You know, you were singing at one point. You wanted to put that down. Maybe not forever, but for now, and to pursue other things. I don't think anything, you know, is wrong with that. So I think LeBron, you know, should he retire? Like you say, he's not going to catch all the other greats. Again, if he lost his passion, he should. But if he still wants to play, he wants to prove himself that way, I think he should continue to do whatever. He's damn near a billionaire. I think he has the option to do whatever. But I understand what you're saying was the constant criticism that he continues to get. And it seems like it's just tarnishing everything, or at least trying to, but it won't tarnish everything he's ever done to this point. So, you know, I don't know, man. That's a tough one, though.
I know he's had goals, and he was talking about having aspirations to play with his son, LeBron Jr., and how crazy that would be to be able to play with LeBron Jr. and have him in the league as well, because we all know he came right out of high school. So he still is relatively young in NBA regards. I think his son maybe has another 5-6 years to even he's regarded to get into the NBA. So still some time. Yeah. So I think LeBron still has the fire. But when you look at all the criticism and everything that's going on, it seems like we said, when you have an outspoken athlete like LeBron James and everyone in the media seemingly wanted him to shut up, and him getting ripped apart for every little thing. Like I said, this man is taking 8 teams, B, C, D teams to the NBA Finals, won the first championship in Cleveland in God knows how long. And still gets criticized like this. You wouldn't see your Jordans.
And does a lot. Talk about what you could talk about what he does off the court as well.
Way more than he does on it.
Yeah. So, you know, I just think that people see him, you know, start to interrupt
you go.
You know, as more, you know, as a threat. And they don't really want us to be outspoken and to lead anybody to anything positive, it seems like. Because why? I mean, what is he doing that's negative for anybody? You know, maybe, you know, the stuff that he said was real. All the stuff that, you know, if you want to talk about it. So we understand what world we live in, man.
And if he's sitting at the end of the bench and not being a team player, I'm sorry. I'm the #1 athlete in the world. I got to get my mind right for a couple minutes. These players aren't going to get the fucking criticism I'm about to get when I walk back on the court. Let me take a minute for my fucking self. And so go ahead and miss me with that, man. That's just that's poking and that's extra, but that's a great segment, man. We need, definitely, man. But you tuned into the Uncensored Truth podcast with your brother Old God and Sam Ant over there sitting across from me, man. We want to encourage everybody that's listening on YouTube to go ahead and hit the like button, and please share this video. I want to jump and talk about the Kodak Black young MA situation. We kind of want to avoid this. We went back and forth whether or not we was going to actually talk about this in the pre-production, but it started gaining a lot of steam, and we really wanted to jump on it because now, you know, according to a few articles, now they're saying that they may be homophobic, the Kodak Black, you know, and here's what happened. So pretty much Kodak Black put out a song called Pippin' It Easy. You know, he made some remarks about young MA in the song. And pretty much he said he wanted to have sex with her, you know what I'm saying? And as long as she has a vagina, he wants to have sex with her. Now, young MA took offense, you know, to this. I don't know if there's
yourself from the top of your head to the soles of your feet. Who taught you to hate your own kind? Who taught you to hate the race that you belong to?
Hopping out the Lex, I felt like Malcolm X. Marching with the shooters like Martin Luther. 40 cal SK or the fucking Ruger. Don't ever question if I got the heart to shoot.
As we walk, we must make the pledge that we shall always march ahead. We cannot turn back.
They say the best things come from the worst shit.
Tuned into the Uncensored Truth podcast with your brother Old God and Sam, man. We're going in today on this Monday, Sam, and I want to jump over here to this story. This definitely is not going to make YouTube, but it's definitely going to make the podcast. Now, I'm sure you've seen this video, went viral, you know, yesterday, and it was a Connecticut woman, you know, who's supposedly a teacher, was in a ShopRite, ironically.
They say the best things come from the worst shit. This all facts, this ain't no verse shit. I done fought the state on some verse shit. Feeling like Franklin the day he touched his first brick. First trip, I did 95 all night. The Chuck Taylor Converse off-white. The laser at your eyes if it's on sight. Gray solar red with the orange stripe. When I brought the Lex, I felt like Malcolm Little. Riding down Martin Luther Boulevard.
World out here we live in, man. It's just like, it's the only place where take your mind, your body, and your soul, and that's celebrated. Like, it's a shame, man. But it is what it is. We got to learn how to walk and move amongst the area we live. It is what it is. Yes,
sir. But that's another episode of the Uncensored Truth podcast. In the book, I was going to talk about Jay Morrison situation, but we'll talk about that, on another date.
No,
we
man,
have more information.
Another black man, they get us. So
I just want to kind of give him the benefit of the doubt in the situation, because we know he was doing a Tulsa real estate fund, and now the SEC is pretty much wants to investigate his books. The SEC, Securities Exchange Commission, is pretty much calling his company into scrutiny right now. That's the only thing that's pretty much happening right now. So
we need more info. I was one that was high on Jay Morrison. I've talked about him in high regards on this podcast. I wanted to see him do well. Wanted to interview him on a podcast.
Definitely.
But we have all heard the whispers, all heard the people kind of saying, we got to make sure we pay attention to that. So, I mean, it's real unfortunate that we have to do this all the time because we just want to genuinely have some support to people out there who are very outspoken and the betterment of our people.
Right.
So, I mean, we'll wait on it. I want to talk about this real quick, God.
No.
I mean, unless you have something else on Jay Morrison.
No, go ahead.
Dan Reed. I don't know. Dan Reed, I know you might not know him by name, but he is the creator of the Neverland docuseries.
Okay.
Documentary, excuse me. Now, he explained that there's a version of the docuseries that ran for 5 hours and included interviews with many people connected to Michael Jackson in 2005's trial, including the LAPD and Santa Barbara Sheriff Department, who conducted investigations as well as the main prosecutors and deputy DA. Now, those clips did not make it onto the final cut of the docuseries, but Reed said that he's interested in making a sequel to the Leaving Neverland revolving around Michael Jackson's 2005 case. Now, here's the details on this, and I want to put this in because it's interesting. The film I would really like to make following this one is the trial of Michael Jackson. I could only do it if the victim and his family participate. It would be a much weaker film if they didn't. I don't want to follow Leaving Neverland with a weaker film. What's your thoughts on that? Now, you put a phenomenal video out,
right?
Talking with Michael Jackson, saying things that they're not putting out right now in the mainstream media. And he's talked about this, how they violated him. We've talked about this on the podcast, and we don't see a lot of support.
Yeah.
And now we see that there may be some more coming out on Michael Jackson because maybe this didn't do enough damage. So I know we talk about it ad nauseum, but I just kind of wanted to throw support to the situation.
Well, his family's fighting. I mean, you seen Twitter. Behind the scenes, they're putting up. That's why they need to actually come here onto the podcast,
Facts.
And and sit down and really let's get through this information together and put it out to the masses, because it's just like you're not going to win a battle on Twitter, but if you come onto a platform like this, we can get it out for you. But it's just like the Michael Jackson situation, man. I don't know what else information they could bring out, because if they're going to bring out, talking about bringing out the sheriff and different things like this, bring me facts. I don't want to hear what people are saying. Bring us DNA evidence saying, because when you talk about the film that I put up, Mike talks about what he had to endure as far as them, the sexual examination, the rigorous stuff that he just had to endure. Obviously, we know what happens when you're accused of sexual assault. So if you're not showing me facts, I don't care. I don't care what else they got to say. I mean, at this point, man, it's just like, it's crazy. I mean, it's allegations still.
Is this just the stamp and the nail in the coffin that this is the media trying to destroy this man's legacy to get their music? If this ain't it, I don't know what is. If you still need more after this, like you still just trying to continue to destroy, even the people that say, damn, he did this, now you got to look at it and go, wait, what else is there to do now? What else do you want? You want his music gone so that he can't get paid on it anymore? Because you see
it's slowly starting, them pushing for that. Things coming off the shelves, things, scaling back. We talk about the UK pulling music. They slowly, surely now, with the way they got the music set up now, we talk about not having hard copies. Now you can make somebody disappear if they got mere allegations. This is not cool for anybody, man. Like, he had his time to go to trial. And it was interesting. Macaulay Culkin. And matter of fact, I pull up the clip when Macaulay Culkin actually talked about Michael Jackson. So let me find that clip real quick, and I'm gonna play that.
Now, I was in a barbershop with my son. He was getting his hair cut. I'm talking to one of my bros, and he was saying that how, I guess the dude, Wade Robson, he was upset that Macaulay Culkin was the new Wade Robson. Apparently, that was the thing that they tried to spin.
Right.
That he took his place as being Michael Jackson's boyfriend. Some wild shit like that.
Let me just play it. I'm play what he says, and then we'll just go from here.
Let's do it.
But we have to cover it, so let's ask about it. What's the relationship that you had with Michael Jackson?
Had or have. I mean, it's kind of, whatever.
Let's go with had.
Listen, he's a good friend of mine, and he still is. I mean, everything that's going on, I mean, it's unfortunate. It's an unfortunate situation for everyone involved. And,
I first get to meet him.
I first met him, he kind of called me randomly, like out of the blue. You're just kind of like, hi. It's Michael. And I was like, hey. And the thing is,
after Home Alone.
This is after Home Alone. I actually had met him before I was doing Nutcracker at Lincoln Center. I was playing Fritz, and he came backstage one day, and I actually met him very briefly. And he kind of recognized me because it was after I'd done Uncle Buck, and so he kind of mentioned something, and then he calls me up kind of out of the blue, and it's kind of just this weird random thing. And he was like, why don't you come over to my house? And the thing is, I didn't react to him the way most people did. Most people were like, Michael Jackson. And, I mean, he was a god to people. And to me, he was, I knew he was a pop singer, but beyond that, I wasn't one of the fans. I think that's one of the reasons why we connected, was the fact that, believe me, I call him a jerk all the time. I call him a fathead and this and that,
Your brother knew him too?
Yeah, no, we all did. I mean, he was, a family friend.
What happened at the house? That's what all these things
It's, that's what's so weird,
What did that?
Nothing happened, I mean, nothing really. I mean, we played video games, we played it at some amusement park. Well, the thing is with that whole thing is that, they go, oh, you slept in the same bedroom as him. It's like, I don't think you understand. Michael Jackson's bedroom is 2 stories. And it has like 3 bathrooms and this and that. So when I slept in his bedroom, yeah, but you have to understand the whole scenario. And the thing is with Michael is that he's not very good at explaining himself. And he never really has been, because he's not a very social person. I mean, you're talking about someone who's been sheltered and sheltering himself also for the last 30 years, and so he's not very good at communicating to people and not very good at conveying what he's actually trying to say to you. And so when he says something like that, people, he doesn't quite understand why people react the way that they do.
Why do you think he likes young people?
It's because the same reason why he liked me was the fact that I didn't care who he was. That was the thing. I talked to him like he was a normal human being. And that's what, and kids do that to him because he's not, he's Michael Jackson, the pop singer, but he's not the god of, the king of pop or anything like that. He's just, a guy who's actually very kid-like himself and wants to go out there and wants to play video games with you.
Did your parents encourage it?
They weren't against it. It wasn't like they encouraged it or pushing me upon it. It was just kind of like I wanted to hang out with them, and they were fine with it.
So what do you make of what he's going through now?
Like I said, it's unfortunate, and it's a circus right now.
Do you think it's a bad rap?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, it's listen. Look what happened the first time this happened to him. If someone had done something like that to my kid, I wouldn't just settle for some money. I'd make sure the guy was in jail. And it just really goes to show. As soon as they got the money and they ran. That's really what happened the first time. And so, I don't know. It's a little crazy, and I kind of have taken a step back from the whole thing because it is a bit of a circus. And if the same thing was happening to me, I wouldn't want to drag him into it, and vice versa. So I try my best to keep a distance from it, but. Like I said, it's still a friend of mine.
A character witness? Was you there?
I guess so, but I probably not. Like I said, it's crazy, and I don't really want to be a part of it.
But you like him?
I like him, and he's a friend of mine. I'm not saying I wouldn't do something like that. It just hasn't been brought up to me, and I don't think he'd want me to either. Just because, like I said, if the same thing was happening to me, I wouldn't want him.
What reaction has happened to you from all of this?
What do you mean?
People. How do people inquire of you a lot about it?
Sometimes, yeah. People always have their opinions. They always, it's funny. People always talk to me about him because, I'm one of these people who will tell you anything about my life, really, if you get me going, And so, yeah, I freely and openly talk about him and stuff like that. But overall, he's just a good friend of mine.
But you wish him well?
Yes, of course I do.
What got you?
All right, so that's Macaulay Culkin. That's his own words. When he's on Larry King. I don't know exactly what year, so I don't know. That about him being his lover. I don't know where he got that from.
It was Hollywood.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. It's just people's hear stuff like that. But this is his own words, and he made some real good points. But Sam, man, probably your first time hearing that. I actually listened to this video yesterday. What do you think about Macaulay Culkin, and what we just talked about with the Michael Jackson situation?
I heard little clips of that throughout the time. Little thing. I never heard that in its entirety that way. Right. It just little things trigger things that he really said that kind of sticks out to me. First off, the way he said that Michael Jackson didn't communicate well for people to understand. Well, we know how any little thing that you say, we know. Motherfuckers will run with that shit and take it somewhere completely left And that's not even the mainstream media. That's simply comments in the comment section. So if somebody asks him, do these kids sleep in the bed with you? You go, yeah, they in my room all the time. Not realizing it's the size of a fucking hotel, Mike.
Right.
And you're not explaining that, Mike. Yeah, that looks crazy to people. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Macaulay Culkin shed some light on that. Another thing he said was, I forgot something he said that really kind of stood out in my head, but little things that he said just made real sense that no, there wasn't nothing. It wasn't anything going on. And Mike was genuinely just liking to be around. And Michael talked about it often, why he liked to be around kids. He didn't consider himself a god, but he considered himself godlike. And God said, I forgot what the fuck he said, but being amongst the children. Shit.
Right.
So, I mean, I think that people are really just trying to destroy him, one, because they don't understand him, two, because of what he owns and what he had.
Yeah, and it's just like, again, when you build propaganda up, when you get a media machine like HBO, Sundance, and you put a good documentary together, and you got the power of social media, people can now start believing, that this is absolutely real. It's a guy named Taj Jackson. I'm sure you understand who he is. He's been, fighting. If you see this, Taj, we would love to have you on the podcast to talk about this. We see you hitting a lot of media outlets, and I see one of his videos in the YouTube suggestion right after that video, and I'm just like, it'd be great if you came into this podcast, because we do actually reach a lot of people if you want to get your message out. But I'm glad that the family's still fighting, for him. As far as that second Leaving Neverland, obviously we talked about the numbers on HBO being about close to about 2 million probably by now, kind of being dismal. So now they're trying to continue. This wasn't enough. Let's try to continue to tear this man down. Remember, facts versus allegations. You got facts versus allegations on the table.
Exactly. And not going to do this ad nauseum. We're not going to, but when we start seeing trends when they're trying to take away a man's music and legacy, like, let's really think about that and really dive into that. If they turn the button off, there's no music of Michael Jackson anywhere ever. We're not talking about a man that was with DNA found, there was tapes found, there was this found. No, this is merely allegations because people don't understand, and everything that he's ever done can be taken away. Just can't let that go. And no real media outlets are out here talking about it the way we're going to talk about it. So, hey, if anybody wants to come on behalf of Michael Jackson, like Oga said, your platform is here, man. Come on.
Sir, you can get in touch with us. Look right in the description box, no matter what platform. Our emails are right down there. Get in contact with us. Anybody from the Jackson family, real members, because we got some fake people who hit us up in the past.
Yeah, because your last name is Jackson. I mean, you fucking family members.
Right.
Man.
If you want to come on and speak, we're more than welcome, open up the platform, for you. But yeah, man, that's a good, perfect actually segment right there, man. And we're going to close out. And at this point, man, another episode of the Uncensored Truth podcast is in the books. We appreciate everybody who listened all the way through. If you got time, actually do go ahead and just share this one other person, text it to them, or share it on your Facebook timeline, and we appreciate it, man.
Indeed, man. We're about to get out of here. We'll see you tomorrow evening. Another episode on Tuesday. We got some dope giveaways coming for you exclusively on the Uncensored Truth podcast for when we hit certain milestones, 50,000, 100,000 and beyond. Y'all make sure y'all stay tuned for that. Maybe we'll drop the official announcement Friday on the Uncensored Truth podcast on how to get the giveaway.
No doubt.
Yeah, man, another episode on the books. Sandman, viral hip hop news. Oh God, hip hop news uncensored. We are the most dangerous, underrated, most underappreciated podcast on YouTube to date.
That's right.
The Uncensored Truth podcast. Another episode. We are out.
We out here.
That you belong to.
Hopping out the Lex, I felt like Malcolm X. Marching with the shooters like Martin Luther. 40 cal SK or the fucking Ruger. Don't ever question if I got the heart to
As
shoot.
we walk, we must make the pledge that we shall always march ahead. We cannot turn back.
They say the best things come from the worst shit. This all facts, this ain't no verse shit. I done fought the state on some verse.